Welcome to the Sin Bin Podcast, your home for all the news, analysis, and discussion around your Bloomington Bison.
Let's drop the puck and get started.
And welcome to episode 9 of the Sin Bin Podcast. We are back, and wow, what another weekend. We can't catch a break with these weekends. They're so interesting. It's fantastic. We love getting close to postseason hockey, and we have so much to talk about today, especially these past 3 games. Some of them great, some of them not as good, but we still hold the division 4th spot right now.
That's
for
what
that
matters.
Final playoff spot, but we'll get into the standings later as well. We're going to start off with just kicking off the games, and that first game against the Kalamazoo Wings, we said it was kind of like a playoff game, and let me tell you, it felt like a playoff game. Watching it, oh man, was that game good. I think you were at that game too, Mike. Would you want to explain what happened?
I mean, first of all, that was legitimately, when I say this, I 100% mean it. That was the best hockey game I have ever been to in my life, regardless of level. So the Bison were down. I want to say it was like midway through the second.
It was about
5-1.
13:30 left in the second.
Okay, yeah.
And they scored their fourth
or fifth?
No. Did they score 2 in the first? I can't remember. I think they scored 3 in the second. So about 7 minutes into the second, they had scored 3 goals. All right,
Yeah.
Kaskisuo gets pulled, and
That was, I feel like, side note, that was so unfortunate for Kaskisuo because he had been playing so good.
So good off
So
to them,
good.
too.
But it was like 5-1, I think, was they were down heading into that timing. And
well, before we continue, one thing I want to talk about.
Yep.
Their new goalie, McKee. I gotta bring this up.
Dryden McKay?
Dryden McKay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, Dryden McKay.
Dryden McKay. He's actually from my hometown.
Really?
Yeah. Dryden McKay, I remember actually seeing a little bit about him when he was doing really good at Minnesota State. We'll get to them later. But Minnesota State, he had like a .942 save percentage one year.
Dang.
And like was doing insane in the NCAA. And then this year, by the way, in 35 games for the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, he has a .910 save percentage.
Man, we are just lucking out with goaltenders,
we just
man.
keep getting good goal. It's honestly hilarious that we keep managing to get this. And he's only 27 too, so it's not like he's super old for a goaltender either. So Dryden McKay, a pretty good find again. And yeah, he only has an .865 save percentage with the Bison so far, but I
wouldn't look at that because look at what he stepped into.
Oh yeah, he stepped into a game where you're down 5-1. I think Kaskisuo got pulled after the 5th. Was it the final goal that he got pulled, or was it the 4th goal that he got pulled? I don't remember. I
can't remember because, to be honest with you, I didn't even realize that he got pulled until way after he got pulled. So somebody had some. I didn't meant to see that. But
quick shout out to Dryden McKay. Downers Grove, Illinois represent, I guess. But yeah, he played for Chicago Mission and all of that. He's from Downers Grove, Illinois. So I just remember looking up, because I was looking up his stats just to see what we got in the new goalie, and I'm like, place of birth, Downers Grove? My high school? Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm glad we got him now. I feel like I got some hometown representation on the team.
Heck yeah.
A little bit. And yeah, he's doing pretty good this year. Again, didn't have a great second game with the Bison this end weekend, but we still have faith in him after what happened in that game, because again, goes in down 5-1. And you know what? Actually, I think I might be able to see it on the game log on when he was pulled.
Okay.
I'm gonna look for the game log so I can get that in particular. But that's dude. That game.
I went with 2 of my buddies, and literally, so this, you'll get a kick out of this, right?
All right.
So we were down 5-1 at that point. They just scored their 5th goal, and we all looked at each other, and I was like, "Y'all, this is the worst that they've ever This is the worst that I've personally been in person and seen them play. This is bad, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, this is awful." And then it was their second goal And I was like, guys, I think it was might have been on a power play, might have not been. I can't remember. That night was crazy, so I don't remember anything very well. But I looked at my two buddies and I go, guys, we're gonna score right here. And I kid you not, 10 seconds after I said that, we scored. And they were like, oh my God, you called it. So then we started, I was like, all right, it's 5-2, but I was like, still got a long way to go. And so we were all kind of feeling down and out about it. And then once we got the third goal, I was like, all right, this is a game now, boys. This is a game.
Here's what I'm saying. So actually, the Dryden McKay went in on the fourth goal. He went in on the fourth goal and then let in the one about 2 minutes later with Jack Clement, scoring the fifth. So it's like you already had pulled Kaskisuo, now you got the new goal in, and now you just let in a goal. And vibes were down. I was in that building too. Vibes were down right there. And then, with just not that long left in the third period, because it was like 3.5 minutes left in the third. Matt Staudiker, just from the blue line, a bomb. And you're like, okay, they got some hope. I mean, it's 2-5. So, and like, our only one goal was like a nice power play goal in the first. Like, so it's only 2-5. But hey, that's something. And it was just a long shot from far away. So I'm like, okay, wait a minute. This goalie is beatable.
Yeah.
Like,
well, props to that goalie. Because
Lemieux is pretty good.
He was having a night that night. I mean, we easily could have not been that down in the hole.
Normally the Bison are the ones that don't have the majority of the shots on net. This game, they led shots on net metrics by 46-27.
Yeah, I mean, Lemieux played his head off, and we were getting my buddies were getting so frustrated because there was a point in time where it was just like chance after chance, and we were like, are you kidding me? Like, how does that not go in? And it was just like, oh my God, we can't. I think I could have gave at one point that goalie $1,000 to let one in, and he wouldn't have done it.
Oh yeah. Well, all I'm saying is, you finally realize he's beatable. You finally find the way that just from the blast from the point, Johnny Evans to Matt Staudiker, it's like, okay, it's possible. And then with 54 seconds left, they get another one. And me personally in that building, that's the moment I'm like, oh, they got this. Like, as soon as when they scored that 1906, I'm like, oh, it's in the bag. I'm like that.
Interesting.
Like, you score twice within the last 4 minutes of the period. Momentum is entirely on your side going into the locker room.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they didn't have a ton, but they held the Wings to 6 shots on net in the third period. To 6.
Oh, really?
They held them to
I didn't
6.
even realize
shots
that.
Shots were 6-11 for the Bison in the third period. So they came out and they had all the momentum. And then sure enough, 9 minutes in, goal by Lou Felix Denis, and he just takes it himself. He just goes and like, nah, I got this, and just goes in himself. And what a goal by Denis. Another one of those young players that's really hopefully going to stay on this team for a while.
Good move
Coach there.
Barsky.
Hopefully we can keep Denis for a while because I am a big fan of Lou Felix Denis. He is pretty darn good. And then with just over 5 minutes left, Connor Lockhart scores from Ryan Seedham and Eddie Matsushima. And by the way, from the captain, let's go. But Lockhart getting that, honestly, I thought they were going to win it in regulation. Like, at that point,
that would have been nuts.
Like, once they scored that, I'm like, they might win this in regulation. Like, that's ridiculous. They ended up not doing it, but they dominated all the shots and then got a penalty called against them as the overtime is about to start. So they get a power play for the majority of the first bit of overtime, and sure enough, on that power play, just Shane Ott to Chong Min Lee, absolute one-time ripper into the back of the net.
Give big props to Shane Ott because holy cow, is he on fire?
Oh yeah. And what did I tell you? Did I or did I not say that Shane Ott was going to be a major addition to this team? And I remember when I commented that, or I don't know if I did actually end up commenting that, but I remember looking at the signing they said, and I was like, yo, this is a huge addition for the Bison. This is awesome. Sir. I can't wait for this. And I was telling you, and you were like, who's Shane Ott? Like,
I had no clue who this kid was.
I'm a big NCAA guy, and I knew of him, and he's he was killing it. And I'm like, this is a big move. Trust me. He's like, all right, if you say so. And sure enough, oh man.
He's putting up ridiculous numbers with the Bison so far. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that this is his first stint in pro hockey.
It is in fact his first stint in pro hockey.
Whatever numbers he's putting up for pro hockey, I mean, that's just insane. And I feel like if you were to pick one guy on the Bison roster, I would say in the last like week, 2 weeks, that's made a difference, it's him.
Shane Ott right now, again, he's 24. He just got into the professional leagues out of the NCAA. But he was almost around a point per game in the NCAA. 5 games right now in the ECHL. He doesn't have his first pro goal yet, but he has 7 assists.
Yeah, but okay, see, here's my argument because people are going to crap on him for not getting a goal. Because all the people care about is goals. But you know what? Assists are just as good as goals.
Depends on the assist. That's the thing that I always say. Because one, I really think assists should maybe be just the first assist. You get an assist for the first and secondary assist. Sometimes it's like, yes, it works. But I also understand the argument of people who say maybe just the primary assist. Because the primary assist most of the time is like the major one that matters. But I don't know. Yeah. He only has 2 penalty minutes on the season so far, has 7 assists, and then those are majority primary assists as well. Because he's the one doing a lot of the work and getting it done. Like, this isn't like someone who's a defenseman who's just gaining a lot of secondary assists because he's on the power play and he passes it to one of the really good guys. He's not partially Evan Bouchard. Not to call on Evan Bouchard. Evan Bouchard's really a good defender, but I'm saying like he's not someone who's just racking up a lot of points because they have 2 really good players on their power play and he can just pass it to those 2 and they'll make magic work. Like Kevin Bieksa on the 2011 Canucks. That's going to be a real deep cut for some people, but like I'm saying, like this isn't someone just gathering points off of secondary assists like that. This is someone like driving play. This is like when Connor. Okay, I don't want to give him too much praise here, but I'm saying like. It's like last year when Connor McDavid was going on his spree, like he barely had 30 goals, but he had like over 100 points because he had so many assists. He like broke the assist record for a while, in a while. But I'm saying that's what these assists are. These aren't like someone just getting extra assists on being the third man on the wing or something like that. This is someone who's driving play and getting it to someone in a wide open area. That overtime goal was assisted primarily from Shane Ott, and it was because he had it right at the top of the slot and decided to pass it instead of shoot it right to an open Chong-Min Lee who one-timer sniped it into the back of the net. But I'm saying part of that is a big piece you give to Shane Ott there because he's the one who really
it doesn't happen. The goal doesn't happen if Ott's not a part of that. So,
and what I'm also really excited about is that, okay, Shane Ott is one of these like top players, which by the way, it's kind of like we have a pretty solid set on who our guys are because we have, again, Shane Ott is highest in points per game right now, and then it's Eddie and Chongmin, which shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Glorious. Then it's the 3 next ones would be Caddick, Budgel, and McLaughlin, which if I could get I know we have Budgel right now, and I'm very excited that we have Budgel back. I am happy about that, but like I mean, could Caddick or McLaughlin?
Gotta take what we can get. Gotta take what we can get. We can't get everybody.
It would also be really nice to have Ryan Seedham for more than one game because as soon as we won that game, Hartford called up Ryan Seedham right before 2 more other important games, and I was like, we got our right defenseman for 1 game, and then they're like, that was too nice to you. Here, give it back to me. It says, dude, I don't know, but like. Other than that, we got a lot of good ones still. Again, Gavin Gould is about at a half a point per game. Same with Connor Lockhart. Same with Johnny Evans. So I feel like those guys are pretty darn good for like the middle 6. Again, Lou Felix Denis, since joining the Bison, has been pretty darn good, but he's still at a good pace for especially his age. And I really like that third line of Lockhart, Denis, and Ott. I really like that third line.
100%.
I don't know. I want to see what other guys on this team can do, and I really like that. I'm just saying, like, if we just had like a Caddick or a McLaughlin back to really solidify that top 6, watch out before you go to the playoffs. Like I'm saying, if Hartford is finally like, okay, we don't have that many players now, like we're barely playing McLaughlin anyway or something like that, we'll send him down. It's going to be a huge boost for the Bison going forward. And it might happen with all the college signings. Speaking of college signings, the Bloomington Bison are in the ECHL, so the Bloomington Bison are a part of those professional teams signing hockey players after their seasons are over. Shaynot, a great example of what we just talked about, but they also just signed a new player. Let me pull up their news section really quick. Here we go. Jack Ribalati? Is that how we say it? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that pronunciation.
Let me hold up. There might be a audio thing here. I'll see if I can.
This is a good time to remind people that, as we've said the last couple of weeks, keep an eye on these types of moves for the Rangers and the Wolfpack, because the Bison can make these moves too, but if the Rangers make these types of moves too, it will affect us. So just your weekly reminder, pay attention to them.
If they sign more, they've signed one from Colorado College so far, Laba, I think Noah Laba, which we talked about 2 weeks ago when we talked about ones they could sign. But he's, like, if they continue to sign some more players out of college, again, they're probably going to play in the A or the NHL, and if they do, someone's probably going to get sent down. If someone gets sent down, then likely someone's going to get sent down from the AHL because they're probably not going to need someone like maybe Blake McLaughlin, or if Carolina signs it, then Danny Kadek would come down. Or maybe a Bryce Montgomery. That would be pretty big too, if maybe like they signed a defenseman like out of the NCAA, someone like Bryce Montgomery could be sent back down. I don't know for sure yet, but I am saying that it's possible. So what they signed, though, is this guy, Jack Ribalati. He's 23, 6'3", so solid size, and coming out of UMass Lowell. Now, I think that's how you say it, Lowell, but they're a good NCAA program. They were ranked for part of this year. They weren't ranked at the end of the year. They're not in the tournament this year, but they were still ranked at a certain point of the year. So they're a good NCAA Division I hockey team. And while being a good Division I hockey team, he was a defenseman for them, did have about 32 penalty minutes in 36 games, so this guy might be more of a hard hitter. Again, at 6'3" and nearly 200 pounds, maybe that's something that you like.
I wouldn't be mad at that.
Like,
because
more of a physical guy, I wouldn't hate that either. And especially this, for UMass Lowell, again, don't know how it's pronounced, but he has 6 points in 36 games, so it doesn't seem like he's much of a offensive defenseman. However, he only put up 6 points in 36 games, yet remained a positive 6 on the season. Now, I do not want to act like plus minus is the most important stat, because it's not. It can be drastically improved and disproved by random plays that make no sense, but unfortunately, we don't have plays like I don't have Corsi 4 percentage for the NCAA. I don't have that kind of statistics. So I have to go off of a lesser statistic like plus minus, even if it's not as accurate as something like Corsi 4 or Fenwick, or as when we talk to Eddie, as he would say, he has even better statistics on something in there. But I'm not a coach right now in UMass Lowell. I don't have access to any of those statistics. So I have to go on plus minus. And from that, if you're like a bottom 6 guy, like you're not that good, you're gonna get a minus because you're gonna be on the ice for more stuff against.
Yeah.
He's doesn't have that many points, but he has a lot of penalty minutes, meaning that he probably plays more, and he is a positive 6. So I think he might be a pretty darn good one, especially for a good college like that. Like, he was also the assistant captain for the College of Holy Cross the year before that, had 9 points in 35 games. And I'm saying that's probably a lesser school than something like UMass Lowell, but like a plus minus of 6 on a team that good is no joke. Because I'm saying, like, UMass Lowell was a better team than the Niagara was. Shaynot came from Niagara, and you can see how good he is.
Yep,
and
right.
He was about a point per game at there. So if this guy is a big, hard-hitting defenseman at an even better college than what that was, he should be even better relatively. Maybe he's more of a scorer. I don't think he's going to be, but I'm saying he's going to be that really good, like maybe defensive, more hard-hitting defenseman. And again, we've needed someone like that. If we can keep Ryan Seedham for 3 minutes, then our right side could be really, really, really good, especially with Thomas Stewart emerging like pretty darn well. Like if you had someone like a defenseman like Ryan Seedham who can also put up points as well. I mean, obviously Jake Murray is our number one guy, but I'm saying like in points per game, Ryan Seedham's second on the team. I don't know. It's just, I think Thomas Stewart's good, and I like Matt Staudiker as well, but I would really, really like them as a bottom pair. And if you have a top four of, like, even this guy comes up, all right, Robilotti, and if he comes up and he's on your right side with, like, let's say Berger, and then Jake Murray and maybe Ryan Seedham, maybe Montgomery comes back and makes the M&M's pairing again. That's fine. I'm just saying we don't really have that last person on the right side right now. Dadazhanov is filling that role, and I don't know. I don't know how I've felt about Dadazhanov so far on the Bison. He's kind of been
I feel like he's been like
been all right.
in the middle. Like he's not really made a splash, but he's not really cost us anything either. Like,
I don't know. There's some moves that he makes that I'm really like, I don't know, but I don't want to give him too much flack. Again, he came right from the SPHL as in the Rivermen, and then immediately gets jumped onto a team that's in a playoff push in a higher level of hockey.
Yeah.
Like, no duh, it's going to be a hard adjustment. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just saying if you gave me a confidence meter of Thomas Stewart versus Dadazhanov,
Thomas Stewart.
I'm taking Thomas Stewart 10 times out of 10. I feel a lot more confident when he's on the ice. So I'm saying, like, if you have someone like Ryan Seedham who's putting up these points per game numbers, or you add someone like Jack who can do really good and stay on that right side, I think you have a lot better of a chance. I just think you need someone else on that right side as well. Because right now it's going to be, your right side's going to be Thomas Stewart, I keep forgetting, Robilotti, Jack Robilotti, and then probably Dadazhanov still, I would say. I'm probably still most confident with him on the right side. And then your left side is, again, as it's always pretty much been since the last couple weeks, which is Berger, Murray, and Staudiker, which I really like that left side. I'm very fine with our left side. It's just like I want to make sure that right side is solidified because it used to be one of our strengths, and because we got all of our defensemen taken, it went to one of our weaknesses for a while. So I'm saying if you can just get, like, I know I've been saying this every week. I know. I'm sure I'm
Tell us again, Dylan.
Making their fans lose our minds at this point. But for the love of everything, could we just get some players back? Give me just send Ryan Seedham back down or Bryce Montgomery, one of the two, and then send down Blake McLaughlin or Danny Kadek, one of the two. And I feel like we'd just be so much more solid.
Well, I think kind of just going back on the newer guy real quick, you bring up that he's not, he seems to be more defensive-minded player, and I think if you look at it from a bigger perspective, it makes total sense why we signed him, because I think it was last week that you said, like, the Bison are a very defensive team. They're not someone who's going to look to sign, offensive powerhouses.
Which they did already in Shea Knott.
And, yeah, like, they got Shea Knott, and they found their offensive guy. So this new signing, I think, makes a lot of sense for the Bison if you're thinking of it from the mindset of Coach Philip Barsky, because you're a very defensive team. You like to play very defensively, and once you get a lead, you don't necessarily, I wouldn't say they like to necessarily pour it on, but they play more of like protect the lead versus add on. And I think it makes sense for the type of team that they're trying to build. And also, you mentioned that he might be more of that hard hitting, kind of more physical defenseman, which personally I'm a fan of. I think that makes it, I think we have defensemen that can already score.
I think so too.
And I think adding somebody with that physicality, like that tough-mindedness. Me personally, I love that move going in, making this playoff push, because I think that's what you need in the playoffs more than anything, personally, because I think we've seen it in multiple levels, especially if you look at the NHL. Obviously, this is the ECHL, but I don't think it matters. I think in a lot of playoff series, if you have a very physical mindset during the playoffs, I think those teams tend to perform better, in my opinion, because you're able to wear down your opponents because you just hit the crap out of them. And I think people kind of underestimate that. If you play a real physical style in the playoffs, that wears on teams a lot more than people think, because their bodies just cannot handle that for 7 games.
Yeah, so he was a more bottom pair guy on. I'm looking at UMass Lowell's Twitter page right now, and yes, I'm still gonna call it Twitter page. I'm not ever gonna change calling it that. But yeah, he was like more of a bottom pair guy, so I do think he's gonna be more that defensive, like more solid hitting, steady presence that maybe goes on your bottom pair. But I'm saying I don't mind Thomas Stewart with Carter Berger on the second pair at all. I'm confident with that. I think I'd rather have this Ribolati guy on my bottom pair right now than Dedejanov. Again, not trying to throw shade at Dedejanov. I'm just saying from a practical perspective, I think I'd rather prefer Ribolati, though we'll see how he does in his pro debut. We'll have to see how he does. But there has been a lot of people signed recently, actually in the ACHL, like the Indirdak Thunder and the Norfolk Admirals just signed 2 guys from Level 2. And wow. One of them just had their first pro goal. So, good on them, I guess. But I'm more just... I think he'll do pretty solidly, again, with how you saw the last NCAA one. If his team's a little bit better, again, they did lose 7-1 to Maine in their last game of the season. But also, that's Maine. They're really, really good. So you can give them a little bit of a pass for that, because Maine is really good. And I can't believe that we spent all this time just talking about the first game. This has been about 26 minutes in. We've just been talking about that first game. Yeah. Well, we'll go to the second 2 really quickly, because I still want to talk about a few other things.
Yep.
But the second game was against and again, big win, which was essentially a playoff game against Kalamazoo at home. Got the crowd rocking. Again, as you said, I was there too. They scored that overtime goal, Chong Min Lee, and like that whole place erupted.
I've never heard the Grosinger Motors Arena that loud.
It was insane. Ever. It was awesome. And this was a Friday night game too. Like, this was not like a packed Saturday game. This was like one of the Friday games. So normally their Friday games get a little bit less attendance than their Saturday ones, and still it was ear piercing in there. It was awesome.
Yep.
The dog game too. Oh man. Then they go to Indy in what we said was probably their second most important game of the weekend, and unfortunately fall 5-2. Now again, one of them's an empty netter, but still.
I feel like in that game, the Friday night, you needed Friday night. There's no doubt about it. You needed Friday night. I think, unfortunately, the way that you played Friday night and with how much energy you had to spend to come back in that one, that bit us in the butt on Saturday.
Yeah, because a little bit, we did amazing in that game, and if out of the 2, if you would have told me you could either win the first game against Kalamazoo in that especially in that fashion, or win the game tomorrow, I would say win the Kalamazoo game 20 times out of 20.
Yeah,
but I'm
absolutely.
saying it did bite you in the butt a little bit for the Fuel game, which you end up losing 5-2, but it's all right. Then you go to Toledo, and I'm actually pretty happy about this one too, because remember, this is Toledo. This is the best team in the division.
Yeah, these are no slouches.
Like, this is not an easy team to beat, and you almost upset them at their own barn. Like, that's pretty big. You go up 2-0, and then, they go up 2-0, and then they come back and score 2 in the first as well, and it goes 2-2. Stays 2-2 through the second, and then in the third, you give up 1, and you score again. Or no, I think you score first, and then they tie it. But go to OT, and then you lose in OT. But still, at their home barn, to get a point.
That's a huge point.
Huge point.
Massive
huge point against a really good team that really shows you they're away too. Like, the Bison have been known a little bit for being a team that is much better at home. I remember looking at their records, and they're a team that's much, much better at home. They're much better if they score first, but they're also much, much better at home. And saying, so you go away to Toledo, who's the team you're probably going to face in the first round if you make the playoffs, and you make that kind of statement, that's big, especially against a team that you matter against. So if you have an overtime loss while you're at their home barn, maybe next time that overtime goes your way. And then if you have the momentum going into the playoffs or something like that, which is you're going to need if you're going to make the playoffs, if you have that momentum that you made from making the playoffs right into a team that you can know that you can beat, anything's possible in the playoffs. Anything's possible in the playoffs.
I'm still really liking their chances.
Anything possible in the playoffs. Yeah.
I would say you bring up something really, again, really, really important, and I think for those of you who watch the Bison, or when you go to the games, whether you're watching on Flow Sports, whatever, I think those are some really important things that you should start paying attention to if you're not already. Is who scores first, because like Dylan said, Bison tend to do better when they score first. I think that's pretty much for every team to be said. But also, down the stretch, the littlest mistakes in the games are going to be the biggest differences.
Yep.
So if you're watching, just kind of take note of that, because something as little as a miscue on a pass or overskating something, you may not think that that's a huge mistake in the early of the year, but as we get down the stretch here, it's going to be super, super important. And if you are looking at these games a little bit closer in the microscope, I think you're going to tend to see that those things do actually make a difference. So I would keep an eye on that, because it's only going to get even more under the microscope as we go along.
Absolutely. I mean, there's just a lot that's been going on, especially with especially on defense. There's just a lot of stuff on I feel like we just need a couple of those guys back. I just keep preaching it, but man, if we could just get, you keep Robidoux on that bottom line then with
Welcome back to Robidoux, by the way.
Welcome back, Robidoux. That's the right winger I think I was forgetting, but I'm saying you don't have Robidoux, and I'm saying you have someone like Max Neal as the center there, and then just need one more guy, man. Give us.
I'm not sure we're gonna get him though.
Just a Blake McLaughlin or a Danny Kadek or something. I feel like if you get that along with this new defenseman and maybe one of Bryce Montgomery or Ryan Seedham back, two guys. I'm asking for two guys.
We should.
Brett Bulchel was a huge addition. He had a goal and an assist in that Toledo game. I'm saying if we can just get someone like McLaughlin to complete that top line. I mean, say McLaughlin, Matsushima, and Lee would be.
We should double check this, but I believe there are deadlines for when we can get players. I could be wrong.
Ooh,
but I think there are deadlines. We'll check on that, but there are deadlines, I think, for ECHL guys for call-ups and sending players down. So I'm not sure if there are. We might not see any movement after that, but I think I don't know. I'd like to hear your opinion on it, Dylan, but I'm still sticking with us making the playoffs. I think it's going to be really hard, and I think it's only going to get harder. But me personally, I still think we're going to do it, and I think we're going to make it, but we're going to need all the support we can get.
Did Staudacher get injured? I'm wondering, because I'm looking at the Toledo game right now, and Staudacher didn't play in that game. So I'm wondering if he got scratched or if he got...
I cannot tell you. Off the top of my head, at least.
Yeah, I'll have to see if he got injured or something, but unfortunate. But
quick shout out before I forget. But the Keg Grove meet and greet on Friday or Thursday night. Yeah. That was really fun. If you have not been to one of those, I think that was their end of the season party. But you should go to their events because they're really fun.
Dude, I got there with the worst timing. I'm always there with the worst timing, dude. You remember that? I got back.
I got there a little late, but
Well, I got there. I got there super late, admittedly. But I got there like after the event was like kind of already over. But like I left like 2 minutes before Abe left, or I got there before like 2 minutes before Abe left. Like I remember walking in and you literally like I walked in and told you because someone had just told me on the way in. They're like, "Oh, you just missed it. Abe left." And I get back and I looked at you and I'm like, "You're kidding me? I just missed it." I swear it was like
the life of the party, you missed it, man.
like by like a minute. And he was like he just left when I got there. I was like, "You."
It was really fun.
But no, it was a really good time for me too.
They
honestly.
had-
It was nice talking to people around the team and everything.
I'm trying to think. They had Robidoo, Max Neal, and Carter Berger there, I believe. And they were really cool. All really cool to talk about or talk with, I should say.
Talk about.
And yeah, I was talking to Robidoo, and this was obviously before he got back from suspension. But shout out to him because we were talking about the podcast, and he said he saw our video of his fight with Blotchman. So shout out to him because he said he likes the video, so that was cool.
Nice. Well, good. I mean,
also,
I'm glad you liked it, dude. That was like one of the best hockey fights I've ever seen. Good.
Also,
Chongmin
Lee, we posted something on Instagram. He also said thank you. So shout out to Chongmin Lee.
There we go.
But yes, if you just go to their events, guys.
Dude,
they're
fun.
They have a coaches show tomorrow, McGuire's Pub, 6 o'clock.
If I was not working during that time, I would absolutely be there.
Eddie Matsushima's going to be there. So if you want to talk to the captain himself, you should go. I'll hopefully be there. I'm planning on being there, but go there. It's free, and you could win tickets. I won tickets. That's how I got to a game once. I went to a coach's show, and I won 2 free tickets.
There you go.
So save yourself some money.
And I'm telling you, we'll go to it. We'll look at the upcoming schedule because now that we're getting into the final part of today, we'll just go over the last bit. But yeah, we talked about the 3 games. So our upcoming schedule, again, big games, but this is a little bit of an easier stretch. If it weren't for your current standings, it would be a lot easier. If you won that game, if you won the game against Toledo and then won the game against Indy, you'd be laughing right now. Unfortunately,
they've made it a little harder on
We
themselves.
didn't. However, again, those were games that we're allowed to. It hasn't hurt us too much. We are still in the lead for the division right now. We have the fourth playoff spot. However, Indy is tied with us and has a game in hand. So
yeah,
they're darn close, and the Wings are now a game in hand and only 1 point behind us.
I'm going to take a gamble and say that Cincy's out of it.
I was saying that last week. It's looking like that might have been a bad prediction just because, I mean, if they continue their bad ways, then yes, definitely. But I'm saying they're now tied with us in games played and are only 4 points back after beating the Wings twice, once in overtime. So I'm saying, I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to beat us for it. I still think we have a solid lead on them if we continue to do well. But I'm saying, the Cyclones aren't out of it. If they continue to do really good in division games, again, they just beat the Wings twice. If they can keep doing good in division games,
they'll find a way. I still think they're going to be out of it. That's my bold prediction. But
me too. I think so too. But I'm just saying, the one you need to worry out for, because now the Wings were on a super hot streak. We ended that with our big 5-6 win.
I think underrated opinion. We killed their momentum there.
Yo, we absolutely did.
That could affect the rest of their season.
No offense. Kalamazoo, you're rattled. I can see it. I'm in your head, dude. I saw Abe doing that at the game too. He was looking at the goalie at the overtime right before they go, and he was going. It was so funny doing that. I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, Abe, he's in your head, dude. I mean, the
mind games, man.
Mind games. And I'm telling you, we won, and now they went from winning 8 straight to losing 2 in a row against the Cyclones. One of them was in overtime.
I was real happy about that. I was watching those games.
But they lost 2 in a row to the Cyclones, who was the worst in division. So I'm saying, I think you are absolutely right. When you get a team that thinks they're doing fantastic and continues on that momentum, and then you come back down 5-1. That, and when they had a good performance from their goalie in that game too, like,
I was real scared playing them.
like, it was.
And now
I'm saying we might have killed their momentum, and if we kind of killed their momentum and they start losing some more games, and the Cyclones turns out if it was really that we just killed the Wings momentum, like, and the Cyclones still aren't that good, it's us versus Indy.
Yep.
At this point. And if that's what it is, I really hope so, because Indy needs to start losing some games, which I hate to say with my Blackhawks side, but like Indy needs to start losing some games, right? Especially before we start signing college prospects, because yikes.
I think ultimately, I could see the Wings collapsing a little bit.
I could too.
And I honestly could see it being between us and Indy, because Indy, too. I think. I don't want to say that they're better than Kalamazoo, but if you told me that like it was us, Indy, and Kalamazoo, like we were all just pretty equal for that playoff spot, which we pretty much are based on points, but like level of play, I don't think there's much of a difference for us between Indy and Kalamazoo.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to see. Again, the Bison do have the most wins out of any of those 4 teams. Even though we're tied with the Fuel, we're tied with them on loser points. Gotta love loser points. They have 2 more shootout losses than we do. So despite the fact that we have one more win than them, they're tied with us.
Something to look out for if you're curious on points, by the way, is if you go to the ECHL website and you look at their playoff tracker, that will give you a very good idea.
Or just their standings.
Or standings, yeah.
But I'm saying, so these upcoming games, we have 2 in a row against the Comets, which is a big, again, this is like a team that you're not competing for the playoffs, but I'm saying this is a team that's going to be in the playoffs. So I'm saying it's a playoff team. You want to get ready for the playoffs? Then beat a playoff team.
Yep. Show why you deserve to be in the playoffs.
Exactly, especially with one of them being at home. This weekend they play 2 in a row against the Comets, 1 home, 1 away, and then you play at Wheeling, which I think Indy just beat Wheeling like a couple days ago. So if Indy beats Wheeling, yeah, because they are on a 3-game win streak. So if Indy beat Wheeling, you got to beat Wheeling.
Yep.
You got to beat the Nailers. You can't be getting one-upped by Indy here. Then you have a home game against Toledo on the 4th, so a weekend from that. And then it's the game after that, it's Kalamazoo, and then again another one at Kalamazoo. Or in our home barn against Kalamazoo. Then it's the one makeup game at Indy, which is going to be huge for playoff implications. And then it's 2 more games away at the Comets, and then you're done. And that's the whole season.
That's insane.
That's the whole season.
I saw a couple of people like mentioning, and I like the optimistic side, but I just want to point this out. Points are huge. It doesn't matter whether, as long as we get a point, that's huge. I will say, though, I think you have to keep pace, like we've said. If, when Indy wins, you have to win. If they lose, you have to win. Like, this is the part of the season where, yes, it's good to be optimistic and say, oh, well, okay, we lost in overtime, but we got a point. While that is true, you need to start having the mindset of, no, we need 2 points. Like, it doesn't matter if we get 1 point. We need 2 points.
We like the loser points, but again, we want to be better. We want to be better than Indy, and especially that game at Indy is a playoff game. And again, you have 4 games against the Comets, 2 games against the Wings, and then 3 other games other than that. That's 9 games left in the season. So we've been talking about it, but it's put up or shut up right now. Like, these are going to be hard games. As I just said, 5 out of your last 9 games are against the top 2 teams in the division right now. And then 3 of them are against people you're currently almost tied in points with going into that. The only game that's not either against a team that you're fighting for the playoff spot for or a top 2 team in the division is the Wheeling Nailers. And they're still pretty darn good.
What do you think you're out of the 9 games? If you, let's say, Bison make the playoffs, what do you think they have to go in the 9 games?
6-9. At least. I'm saying. because then that
6
means
and 9.
no 6 out of 9. Sorry.
Oh, I was
6
like
out of 9.
6 and 9 add
Yeah,
up
no,
to
15 games in 9 games. That's what we need to do. No, we need to win 6 out of the 9 because I'm saying then that allows 1 loss to maybe like Toledo and then like 2 to Fort Wayne or something like that. But you need to like at least split with Fort Wayne. You need to win the Wings games. You need to win the Indy game.
Yep.
Like those ones are going to be must wins. So you just have to. And then it could be the Nailers. It could be you go 3-1 against the Comets and then only 1 loss, and you can losses against the Nailers and the lead Toledo. Maybe you win against Toledo because it's at home. I don't care, but you're going to have to go at least 6-3.
Especially because if you look at that playoff tracker on the ECHL website, we have less possible points than some of the other teams. Cause
They have less games played than us, yeah.
And so it's really, really important that we get those points because
Absolutely.
we don't have as many possible points as some of the other teams.
Absolutely.
So we need them really, really bad.
Well, before we go, the last thing we'll talk about won't be Bison technically, but it does have something to do with it because of players we've been talking about with the NCAA. Once their team's eliminated, they may sign with maybe an ECHL team, maybe an AHL team, or an NHL team, which would mean people would be sent up, sent down as well.
Yep.
And it turns out that a lot of teams are about to get eliminated this weekend. In fact, 8 are going to get eliminated this weekend because it's the start of the Frozen 4 bracket. If you don't know what Frozen 4 is, I implore you to get into it. I promise it's very fun. I'm sure all of you like March Madness. I have a March Madness bracket right now. Thanks St. John's for completely ruining it, and Wisconsin. Thanks for Wisconsin for ruining it too. But not the point. The Frozen 4 is essentially just March Madness, but with only 16 teams, and it's for hockey instead of basketball. And let me tell you, it's always really, really good, especially because of how hockey is, and it's always like up to chance, random things can happen. It's always really fun to watch. And this year, I'll say my Final Four at least. I think my Final Four is going to be Boston College, Western Michigan, Maine, and Michigan State. And I have Michigan State winning it all against Western Michigan in the final. So we'll actually propose that question as we're leaving right here. This week, we kind of know what we're looking at the Bison right now. We know that they need to be winning these upcoming games, and we're not just going to ask if they're going to make the playoffs again because we all know we all want them to.
Yep.
It's time to just see what they can do right now in this playoff push. So our question of the day today will be, who do you have winning the Frozen 4 championship? And if you don't know what that means, then this question is homework. This question is
do some research.
Do some research. Look up what the Frozen 4 is because I promise you're not going to be bored if you watch some of those games, and they're probably pretty easy to watch too. So, like, I'm telling you, and also, especially for people in our area, the Frozen 4 is in St. Louis this year. So, if you get super into it and realize, like, let's say maybe someone from around here is from Michigan State or something like that, and they say, oh, my team has a good chance to win the championship this year, and it's only like $100 or something for a ticket in St. Louis, which I'm only a couple hours away from. Maybe that's a game I want to see.
Check them out. You might see somebody that'll eventually go to the Bison.
Exactly. You could. You absolutely could. It's NCAA, so they might have a little, or these teams might be a little bit too high because their players might be going to like the NHL or AHL. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying they might absolutely sign some from the Bison here. So definitely do that. Make a bracket yourself. Personally, I just save the printable bracket off of the Final Four website and then just use text boxes to move the players forward instead of because they don't have an actual good bracket site. But it's going to be really good this year. I'm excited. And again, just this coming weekend. So the first games are this Thursday and then this Friday. And then the Elite Eight, as you would call in March Madness, those games happen Saturday and Sunday. So it's going to go to the Frozen Four this weekend. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of, we talked about Blackhawks in the past, but a lot of Blackhawks prospects, along as other prospects that might sign with the Bison as well, out of the 16 teams that are in this bracket, 12 of them got eliminated this week. There's only going to be 4 teams left in the entirety of the NCAA who had their season not ended at the end of Sunday. So I'm saying that's going to be big for both the Bison, for pro teams, for everybody.
Yeah.
People are going to be signing a lot of people, and that's why you could see big movement, especially at the end of this week, which is huge because, again, this weekend we're against the Comets and then the Nailers. The next weekend is when we have our weekend against the Wings and the Walleye and stuff like that. So if you can get a boost right before then, maybe you could even do a little worse this weekend. I'm not saying you can, but I'm saying if something happens this weekend,
it would help you.
We don't have a great weekend and something like Indy jumps us with a game that you're going to have with them in the future. And if you get a little beefed up this weekend, it might be even better. So I'm saying even if we don't do great this weekend, don't lose hope because a bunch of signings are going to happen after Sunday for sure. And anything can happen come playoffs. So we just need to squeak in, and that's it.
Yes, sir.
And speaking of that being it, that's going to be it for this episode. We are going to 50 minutes already, so we got another long one today, but that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Sin Bin Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us for this one. It's been a blast, and remember, your homework for tonight is to go look up the Frozen 4 bracket. Maybe make your own, but at least take a look at some of those college teams because I know a ton of people that watch college football and college basketball, but I feel like I'm the only person I know that watches college hockey, and that is such a shame. Yeah, honestly, it is such a good. It's the same way of like something like college football is, where it's like it's less professional. But it's like less optimized, so you can kind of get away with some more stuff in that league. So there's more fun things done in that league comparatively.
It's a little more entertainment, I guess.
Exactly, I'd say. So I would at least say check out some NCAA hockey. And with that,
check it out.
That's it for episode 9.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
Don't forget, click that subscribe button.
Comment down below who you think is going to win the Frozen 4 bracket. And that is all for today. We'll see you guys on the number 10 episode.
10, that's great.
10 already. We'll see you guys in the next episode for episode 10.